folks. Good afternoon, everybody. All of us on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. Great to have you back here this Tuesday afternoon. For all of us back on social media, or back inside our live trading room, went flip-flop this time. So for all of us back inside our live trading room, great to have all of us back here joining us here. Jith, Leda, Brian, Beth, Ravina, Kathleen, and all of us just joining us there. So folks, for right now, it's been a pretty active day altogether. We talked about the morning inside our live workshop just before Traders Talk, right? So we conducted that inside our trading room. We have the recording of that. That will be posted on the student dashboard coming up in just a moment later on today. But Palantir was one of a couple of stocks that we really kind of analyzed from A to Z, from head to toe. So for right now, just normally, as we would say, for a stock trading near or at the highs heading into this time anyway, looks great. We're going to put this on our watch list just to begin. Not just because we were talking about it, not just because I'm in it right now. This is the only stock I'm actively in. We'll go over the last trade I just took a moment ago here, but really from the morning, you could see all of my lines here, right? If you want to know what all of these mean, we just talked about it in Traders Talk a moment ago. But we called out the bottom off of 865, big iceberg order that got pulled from the book in pre-market prior to the open, but it led to the bounce, it led to the bottom, and led to the eventual slingshot back up and over 9, back up and over its opening print 920. I don't have that plotted here, but nevertheless, ended up leading to a huge run. So we were expecting the top around 950, 953. We saw it retested heading into the early afternoon. Myself and Donald, one of my students, had called out the false breakout at first on the retest. But hey, the more times, like we just talked about in Traders Talk, in which we happen to see a stock retest in a smaller concentration, it leads to the attempt, it leads to the entry. So I jumped it off 950 right here. And then from that point, I survived the shakedown. I could have taken a loss. It didn't stop me out. My stop's at 943 for the meantime. But, hey, well, let's bring up Bookmap right now, level 4. And yeah, bounced back up, thankfully for myself on this one trade, but we were hopeful to see that because, well, the stock was testing 950 even from the after hours yesterday. Showed some good buying interest off there at first. So the hope is to see, the more times it kind of tests it, we should get the pop and the eventual, hopefully move up higher up towards the major resistance up top at 10. Looks like nearly like 750,000 shares, if not more, up top at that $10 level. So that's where I'm hoping for that to go. Definitely in the meantime, we'll start by putting this on our watch list, still looking strong off its earnings. All right, so Palantir is 1. That's looking good still. NVAX, not so much, right? We talked about this early from the morning, popped up really nicely going into the market open. Kind of took us by storm heading into Fausto's morning meeting earlier at 9 a.m., but led to a huge pop. We called this out perfect here too. We talked about this in Traders Talk as well, off the 950 level there as well. This ran up a lot higher than I thought it was going to push up towards at first. So I left some money on the table, but it's not about how you exit. It's a matter of how you enter the trade, because that gives you the chance, at least for profitability, to make a trade and profit. If you trade in between levels and shoot from the hip, you're going to just give yourself a headache at best, and at worst, you're going to give yourself a fat loss. Now, at this point on this trade, I was hoping to see a bounce around this like 945, 950, where we initially called it. I don't think it's going to make that real bounce I'm looking for now. I think this is more exhausted now at this point. It's up over 28%. Perhaps it could bounce from here, but I feel like right now we just want to have our focus more towards stocks that are at the highs or near the lows, if it's a good short, perhaps. I mean, technically, this could have been a good short. Hard to borrow from me on TradeStation, and it's up big on the day off news. So we're not trying to necessarily do that. I was actually just looking for the bounce here. I just don't think even if we get one, it's going to be worth our time. So, I'll write this down on our side list here. Novavax here. Take a quick water break in between. Let's go from top to bottom right now, folks. See what we could work with. There we go. SFWL looks like a buyout. I didn't really notice this trade until right now, so certainly not a buyout. Up big and trading like a ton of volume. I just didn't really notice it, so I kind of assumed. But you know what they say when you assume. So with that said, I mean, I guess it's making a pretty strong bounce off of 8, nearly 2-point bounce, right? If not more, actually. So it looks like a new IPO. Otherwise, just looking at the daily chart, lack of historical data here. I have no need to follow this, folks. It's on like a 20-30 cent spread right now. It's just Hey, we are not here to gamble. If you are here to gamble, then I guess it could be a good stock for you, but that's not what Fausto and myself advocate here on a day-to-day. Palantir, even if that doesn't make the bigger pop up to 10, is just a way nicer move, trading a lot safer, much more liquid. All right, what else we got here? TCRX, I'll tell you. I mean, maybe I could have jumped in on this TCRX a few times off this 450 level, but hey, between Novavax and Palantir, I could watch so much, right? And just like you as well. So I personally missed out on this trade. A bunch of us took advantage of this when Fausto was calling it out earlier. I mean, he hit the nail on the head during our audio commentary after the market opened up. Got halted a couple times there, but otherwise, yeah, I mean, hey, if it's not one, it was another. It was a great day altogether to be, just inside our live trading room. So for right now, for the afternoon, I feel like it's holding under resistance at 5. The VWAP here, just pretty much I'd say it's done. Stock I kind of missed out on just before here, the CLRO. I called out the iceberg order. I took a little profit, but it was when it pulled back. I thought it was just going to shake lower at the time. I guess it held and moved up once more. It was a very big tease across the morning, throughout the afternoon today, looking for that higher low, never got it. And you were hopeful to see this be the big runner across the day, not necessarily like TCRX or SFWL, whatnot. So yeah, and for the afternoon now, I feel like this is kind of ran its course already. Maybe by 3:30, if nothing else is looking as good and this is holding, but that's a big if. All right, what else we got here? What is this? Swim Latham Group. Interesting name. I don't know the company. Either way. Stock took a huge hit. Looks like from last year, new IPO roughly. Am I wrong with that? Kind of. From 2021, 35 all the way down. That's a big drop. So, Fausto was talking about this during our commentary earlier today for Jeff and Jeffrey, Ravina and Leda. Just for a stock that got crushed like this, it provides an opportunistic squeeze. Just you can't hold your breath guaranteeing it's going to be this day or that day. You have to see it play out first in pre-market mainly. Looks like this, though, ended up really kind of just pumping up after the open. So better to find it now here than to not find it at all. Hopefully there could be more room on this trade. I like the liquidity. It checks out pretty well. It's not on like a ungodly spread. Just trading very low volume per minute right now. I just wish that was a little bit higher. But hey, maybe more eyeballs will catch on to this move here. So you know what? I'll add this to our main list. Give it a shot. All right, where's Brian? I always got to shout out my friend Brian here on Lagavulin. No, what is it? Long Everin. I keep forgetting the name, Brian. The Scotch whiskey, though, I think, right? Lagavulin, I think it's called, right? That's our favorite. So with that, nice little trend off the lows here across the day. It looks like a big Fausto flag kind of just brewing here. We are familiar with this stock, so if we weren't as familiar with it, maybe I'd be more hesitant, but I'll add this to our list just because we did take full advantage of this pop here back in end of 21, beginning of 22. My Palantir trade pushing up pretty nicely here, so that's looking pretty good still. Yeah, LGVN, why not? We'll give it a shot now. I had this on my list in pre-market, not the main list like my notepad, but otherwise, like kind of dumped off, didn't make a big move just yet. Maybe there could be a lot more left to it. All right, we keep it going here, folks. YMAB, VYGR, not much really to them. Novavax talked about already, not really too keen to follow that for the meantime. Keen to take a sip of water. There we go. ENSC, I just threw fibs up on this graph here, just like kind of rushing going into the open. This was a mess. I did not follow this really at all. So, again, I had my attention more on the others that we've spoken about already. Looks like it kind of pumped up here just after the open, dumped right below support where perhaps you could expect to see it. And then from there, once it smashes below it, actually, it's like game over. All right, that's it. So. All right, Palantir we talked about now at like 959, 960, so still holding pretty nicely there. You got resistance on Palantir at 10, but also at like 980 could be a subtle iceberg level for that PLTR trade. Yeah, Blue up big today. We are familiar with this stock, Blue. This one always kind of flies under my radar personally. Just I don't know why. I mean, just this stock took a huge hit over the last few years. We called it out a few times over the last year or two. But man, I mean, I missed out on the run today, but hopefully more to give here. We'll add this to our main list. Why not? Give it a shot again. Put it back on our side list, if anything, for tomorrow, either way, unless it tanks. But otherwise, like just good liquidity, cheap. It's always been a good stock to us, this one here, Blue. There's only so many that you could remember, right? Like I tell you folks to write down a list and whatnot, and a lot of our students like tell me in coaching like hey, how do you like remember all these stocks? I don't. Blue actually I forgot about. So hey, earlier Ravina and Mike were calling out Carvana, and I missed out on that trade from earlier. While I'm at it. Yeah, up about 5%. So wouldn't have found it really here on the gainer side as much. There's probably a lot more up big. That's where I'm going to need your help on social media and all of us all of us inside our live trading room. So if there's any other stocks that look good up big or like on the way up, let me know. Looks like for right now, Carvana's pretty much finished up with though here for the meantime. Normally, you'd want to see it kind of holding higher lows near the high of the day, just like we talked about on PLTR. So it kind of ran its course though for right now. Big Bear, BBAI, forgot about this one. This has been more of like a level 1 stock as well. I had this on my notepad this morning on my side list. It wasn't like up big on the gainer side at the time, up a little, but hey, made a big pop after the open, a little slingshot, and still holding well. Actually, this looks really good. So add this back on our list here. If I look at BBAI, I may as well look at like AI, right? Come on now, buddy. There we go. AI up about like 3.9%, is lingering around that 20 level. I feel like it's a little bit choppier, not up as big as the other ones. So we'll keep it with just BBAI. I know SOUN was like a dud today. Kathleen called out GFAI earlier, just pretty illiquid, not really too keen to follow that. SAI is a dud. So really, hey, we don't need to trade all the AI related stocks, folks. Don't force yourself to that because you're probably going to end up in a losing trade if you do. It just seems like BBAI is like the one that's making just a nice pop for right now. All right. Let's hop over to the losers list, though, here. Again, if there's anything looking good just on the way up, type it in the chat board. Let me know right now. But for right now, just a few stocks down big enough I'll take a look at and shortable perhaps here. So, OMH, just too illiquid, pass on that. TRVN, what goes up comes back down. SMX, same deal. BLCM, same deal. Not to hold these overnight now, right? ENTA, nah. CHRS, Chris, we'll call it. Just liquid within our price range, just very flat. So not really showing good direction. And pass on that there. Check out Plug. Ooh, big spike of volume. Couple of big spikes of volume at that, not just one. Mainly, I'd say at 8. I don't think I have my level 4, my book map open for this trade right now. So, shoot. All right, how about this? We'll do it live. We'll do it live. Looks like we're getting a bounce actually on NVAX. Let me do something really briefly while we're at it there. I'll check back in on NVAX before we finish up, actually, and we'll see if that makes the bounce from the level I was calling out just before. Just hit it there. I took a small entry. It looks like a lot of that volume came in right off of 798, 797. So that's like 2 separate million share prints, basically, or like nearly million share block prints that got filled. Now it's on the ask, so you might look at that like, oh, green buying. I mean, this is down for a reason. So I'm led to believe that that could be some big shorting on the offer, on the ask. If it pulls back under 797, I'd say that's like kind of bad news or good news for a short, actually. So, for that reason, hey, it's like kind of inching off it on the way up. I'd be more interested in a pullback under it and for a breakback below that 797 line I just drew. All right. If so, that could be a good short for right now. I'll add it to our main list. Plug we're familiar with. And hey, I'll tell you what goes to show, folks, I'm not going to put personal interest into like what we put into our watch lists because I say it all the time. I've been saying it for a while now on this one trade. So I'll say it here. This stock has gotten my number. Like this one stock Plug. Just in the past, I've historically not done as well on it. I mean, that's been more oriented towards the market open time of the day. Hey, if it snaps below 797, I'll still feel confident to attempt that trade. Look at all the big money that got filled there. So if this fails to make this bounce off of that level going up, what happens if it pulls back under it? I think that would be a good trigger for a short. This doesn't look half bad either. SBSW down big. It's like inching towards the low of the day. Good order book. Got a nice order on the ask here, perhaps trying to like push it lower. This actually looks better where it stands here as a short compared to plug, but yeah, we'll put both on our list here. Look good. PayPal. Oh, it's funny. You know, it's funny. Traders dyslexia here. For PayPal to be down 11 to 12%. It's crazy how like PRPL is just like right next to it, like coincidentally enough. It's a shame to like actually have that happen. There are people that actually like short the other one too, expecting like that to drop off, or they might accidentally do it and like they make a silly mistake either way. But it's just pretty coincidental. PYPL though, PayPal, obviously name brand company, very familiar with. Fausto took a tiny loss on this earlier. It was a great loss because hey, he was charting a historical level, looking at the weekly chart here, but roughly off of, I think that was 67.50 or 68.50 that could have been from earlier even. Just it was a quick in and out, and hey, what happened after? Just kept dropping. Even when you would expect bounce or reversal time to be around 10:30 to 11, it broke much lower. So, hey, as a short, certainly this could be a nice trade to work with into the close. And, hey, maybe wherever the next support level is on the weekly chart, might not be for a while, but hey, if it retraces back up there, that could be a potential swing over time. Just, hey, not today. For right now, it could be a pretty good short as a day trade going into the closing bell here. All right. So, folks, let me know if there's anything else up, down, left, right, more than 5%. Markets are like basically break even on the day. It's like, not doing a whole lot. So, if there's like really anything else looking strong in either direction, let me know. Dish, while I kind of stumble into this trade here, Dish TV. This also looks pretty good as a short. Big volume just got filled also just earlier, like prior to 2 p.m. Not going to go back on Bookmap for everyone here, but I can kind of make the assumption. I mean, it's within a 2-cent range between 659, 661. I've got to say, it's the big volume that got filled here at 59. So if this could remain under 59, I'd say it's a pretty good short opportunity. If it breaks back above it, then perhaps if it builds support, you might see a small bounce, but I'd mainly focus on this as your key level. All right, so that's a good one. Let me know though. Last kind of call here. Him's not doing a whole lot right now. I mean, made its move from earlier, just steady on the way down. Don't really need a big list here, folks, at this point. We got Palantir pushing on up right now. Strong push over 960, so still looking pretty good at this stage. Again, 980 could be a level. You even see it on my level 3 here on my matrix from TradeStation. About 108,000 shares on the offer right now at 980. So, before 10, don't count your chickens before they hatch. You got 980 first, and then we'll see where this can go. All right. Chuck with nerve really quickly. Of course, before I lose a nerve and run out of air. Nerve, it's just too thin, Chuck. Not really too keen to. We got a good list at this point. So unless if there's anything that is as liquid as we've been looking at, and also at the highs or at the lows, I'm not going to be looking to follow it. Now I'll be rooting you on if you're already in it. So, I'm always a lover, not a fighter. So if I'm not putting it on the list, I'm rooting you on. All right, folks. I guess I'd said I'd go back to NVAX. I set my stops, so that was a quick in and out. You can see how quickly that broke lower. I took a quick entry right off of 945, ended up just getting stopped out, looks like just a second ago. So I set my stop at 940. That's it. So definitely at this point now, not just because I took the loss, but if it's not going to break higher and make that big bounce up, hey, there's only one other way it's going to go. It's steady on the way down. So, if you could short it, that's one thing. But otherwise, I'd scrap this off your list as well. We're fine without it. So in total, folks, we got 4, 6, 8, 9 stocks to work with. We're fine. All right, so for all of us on social media, hey, just look to check up on our YouTube channel coming up over the next 24 to 48 hours. We're going to post a couple of clips from our Traders Talk workshop, if at that. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a quick email. Josh@c2trading.com is my email. Always like to post that here at the end of these streams. But for Leda and for Jeff and Ravina and Leda and all of us there right now, hey, I'll be in the chat board up until 3:30. So, hey, if I see something, I'll say something, and likewise for you folks. All right, I'll talk to everybody coming up. Take care.